Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Exploring Photography. I'm Mark Wallace, and in this episode, I want to explain to you the 3-light setup. It's an essential thing to know if you want to get into studio lighting, specifically for portraiture. Now, why do we do this? Well, it helps us learn the basic principles of studio lighting. It helps us learn what a key light is, what a fill light is, what a reflector does, what a separation light is, how to meter things, understand light ratios. All of that stuff happens when we learn the 3-light setup. Now, to be honest with you, I'm going to show you a very basic 3-light setup with a key, a fill, and a hair light, and it's a lighting setup that you'll probably never use. But we do it so we can learn the principles of lighting, and then later what I'm going to do is we're going to mix things up and show you how the 3-light setup can apply to almost any lighting setup in existence. And to help me do this, I have a fantastic model. You probably recognize her from videos earlier. It's Tassi! Our 3-light setup begins with our very first light. That's our key light. Now, everything we're going to talk about is relative to the position of our camera and our light. And so all the pictures I'm going to be taking, the camera's going to be right here. But if I leave the camera here, you can't see Tassi, you can't see what's going on. So I'm just going to move this out of the way. But when I'm referring to my camera, remember I'm talking about the imaginary camera that's going to be right here. So the first light that we're going to be working on, this is our key light. Some people call it the main light. It is the light that defines the basic look of our lighting setup. So this is one of our most important things. We're going to meter this light, and then we're also going to meter all the other lights in relationship to this light. That's why we call this the key, the main light, because it's the thing that defines the entire setup. So what we're going to be doing here is we have this nice giant softbox. You can see very, very big. And so it's about 2 feet, I think. And so that's going to give us nice soft light. If you're new to studio lighting, I highly suggest that you use a big old softbox or a large umbrella. It's going to be very forgiving and you're going to get great results. But the first thing we need to do is we need to figure out where to put this light, and we need to figure out our proper exposure. So first, let's talk about where we put the key light. For this, I want to have some nice contrast. So I want Tassi to have light on one side of her face, and I want that to fall into shadow on the other side of her face. So what I'm going to do is, I don't want to put this all the way over to the side because that contrast would be so high that it would just be dark, totally dark on this side and way too bright on this side. So what we need to do is we need to sort of split the difference between super high contrast and flat light, which is straight on. So if we put this straight on, that's not going to look very good. So we're going to split the difference and put this at about a 45-degree angle from where our camera is positioned. So our camera here, our light here, about 45 degrees, and that's going to give us a good starting point. The other thing we want to do is raise this up just a little bit. I'll point it down just a little bit, and that will give us light that is coming from above, not straight from the side. That's going to look pretty good. Okay, so now that we have that in position, by the way, if you want more information about positioning lights at contrast and all that kind of stuff, I have more videos about that, and I've put a link to those videos in the description of this video so you can have a look at that. What we need to do now that we have this in position, is we need to get the correct exposure. And to do that, we need a light meter. And so, thank you, Tassi. I have this light meter right here, and it is going to help me figure out the correct exposure. Now, if you're new to using light meters, I just made a video about metering light. Check that out. It's going to explain all the stuff that we're going to sort of skip over in this video. It's a deeper dive, so you might want to see that. So to summarize, though, what I've done is I've taken this light meter and I've set it to match the settings on my camera. So there are 3 things we need to worry about: the ISO, the shutter speed, and the aperture value. So the ISO, we want it to be really low to eliminate all of the ambient light in this room. We've got lots of video lights. So I've set my meter to ISO 100 and my camera to ISO 100. I've also set my camera to a shutter speed of 1/200th of a second. That's the camera's sync speed. That's also explained in the other video about metering. And so I've set my meter also to 200th of a second. So 2 of the 3 things we need to know have been set. They're never going to change. ISO 100, shutter speed of 200. The third thing that we need to know about that's going to be variable is the aperture value. So to get that aperture value, what I need to do is take my light meter, come back over here, and then meter the light. And so my light meter right now is telling me that I have f9. So the proper exposure for this light, where it is f9. But guess what? I don't want to shoot at f9 because we have a bunch of lights on, and at f9, those lights are going to sort of filter into the pictures. So I want to shoot at about f11. So what I'm going to do is, instead of taking f9, I'm going to increase the power of my flash. Then I'll meter this. And that's f10, not quite bright enough. I'll go up just a little bit more, meter that again. Bam, that's 12 points, that's too much. Go down a little bit. And there we go, f11. You can see right there we have f11. So the key is you choose the aperture value that you want to shoot at. If you want shallow depth of field, 2.8, you turn down the power of your flash. If you want lots of depth of field, everything in focus, turn up the flash. You can shoot at f16 or whatever you want. So you determine in your brain where you want to shoot, meter the light, change it up or down until you get the aperture value that you want, and then you're set. Okay, now that we've done that, can you hold that for a second? Let's take a look and see what we have. So I'm going to take my camera over here, and we'll stick it back over here once I get it untangled. Tassi, are you ready? Yes. Okay, so we're going to take a nice headshot here. Click. And when we look at this shot, you can see exactly what we thought was going to happen has happened. We have light coming in on one side of Tassi's face, and then on the other side over here, it's falling into shadow. The next light we're going to add is called the fill light. It's this light right here, and it does exactly what it sounds like. It fills in the shadows on the opposite side of the key light. Now the thing is, we don't want to fill in the shadows completely where they disappear, because then we would lose all the contrast that gives us form that makes Tassi look so great in these photos. And so what I like to do is, I don't want to set the key light and the fill light at the same luminance, the same brightness values. I want the fill light over here to be about half as bright as my key light. One stop less. A stop is twice as much or half as much. So one stop less is half as much light as my key light. Remember, our key light defines the entire thing. And so the good thing is, I don't have to do all the math to figure out if this is at f11, what is this? Is it 6.3? Is that 8? What is it? Because my Sekonic light meter does all of that math for me. So the first thing I need to do is, I'm going to take this lumisphere, this white dome here, I'm going to put it down. And what that does is it makes sure that there's no extra light. So when it's up, you can see light from above and to the side. When it's down, it only sees light that's coming straight in. And that's what we want. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to meter my key light. Notice I'm blocking the fill light over here with my body. I'm going to meter that. It meters exactly at f11, which is what it was before. And now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to put that value in memory. So on this side of my meter, I've got a memory button. Boom. I'll click that. Now f11 is in memory, and it's going to be stuck there. Then there's a little button right here that says delta EV. Delta means difference. EV means exposure value. I'm telling my meter, tell me the difference in the exposure value between the thing I just put in memory and the thing I'm about to meter. And so it's going to tell me what the difference is in stops. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to click and hold. And it tells me the difference is 1.4 stops, negative 1.4 stops. In other words, this is 1.5 times less bright than this, which is about exactly what I want it to be. I don't want it to fill that in. So negative 1, negative 1.5 is about what I prefer for my fill light, so it doesn't wash out all the beautiful shadows. Then the next thing I'm going to do is, I'm going to go in, I'm going to clear out the memory. So that's all cleared out. And then I'm going to take one more meter reading. It's going to be more than f11. So watch this. You go down here, meter this, bam. That meter's at 12.7. So f13. Why? I'm going to let you hold that. The reason is, if this was at f11 and then we added some fill light, well, those two things add up. And so those two things, 1 plus 1 equals 2. 1 plus 0.5 equals 1.5. So it's always going to be a higher value than what you started out with. So that's something that's interesting, something you might want to note when you're starting out with your key. If If you want to be at F11 at the end, you might want to start at 10 or F9, something like that. So as you're adding more light, it's going to end up at F11 or whatever you want to be at. Okay, so we were at F13. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put my camera to F13 and let's take a shot and see exactly how this looks. Beautiful. Okay, now we can compare that first and second shot. Notice that we still have nice contrast. We still have some shadows on the opposite side of Tassi's face. They're just not as pronounced as they were before. We're ready for the third light. It's way back here. This is called the hair light because it's going to illuminate Tassi's hair. It's also called a separation light, and sometimes it's called a kicker light. But that light back there does the same thing in all three scenarios: hair light, separation light, kicker light. Depending on where it is, it separates your subject from the background. We're calling it a hair light right now because it's on Tassi's hair. It's illuminating her hair, so it makes sense to call it a hair light. But let's say that background was very, very dark. We might take that light and point it on the background. That would separate Tassi from the background. It's called a separation light. Maybe we put some lights to the side and we add some highlights to Tassi's cheeks. Those would be called the kicker lights, but they're still doing the same thing. They're adding some highlights to separate her from the background. So those are our three lights. Key light, it defines our setup. Fill light, fills in the shadows. And then our kicker light, hair light, separation light, whatever you want to call it, separates the subject from the background. So let's meter that hair light. And what I want to do is I want to have this to be, about the same as the key, maybe a little bit less, a little bit more, but about the same value. So what I'm going to do is I've already metered this light. I've put it in memory. And so now what I'm going to do is point this at that light. And we can see that it is 0.4, so about half as bright more. So about half a stop brighter than our key light. That's going to be great. It's going to give us some highlights on Tassi's hair and separate her from the background. So let's take a photo and just see how this looks. Ready, Tassi? Okay, here we go. Let's take a shot. Beautiful. And so now we can look at that and you can see that we have just this very, very slight glow to Tassi's hair that wasn't there before. It's very subtle, but it makes a huge difference in our lighting setup. So what I want to do is show you, now that we know this very, very basic three light setup, I want to show you what each of these lights does on its own, and then we'll put it all together. Then we're going to change all of this stuff, and I'll show you that the three light setup applies to every single lighting setup, even if it's 4 lights or 6 lights or 1 light. It's the same 3 light setup in all lighting setups, and that's why it's really important. So before we do that, let's show you these one at a time, and then we'll move on. Now that we know about the 3 light setup, how does that apply to other lighting setups? Let's take a look at this. We have this is our key light. It's a nice octabox very close to Tassi. And then way back in the back here, we have this strip light that's providing some nice illumination on her chin. That's it, 2 lights. So why would we call this a 3 light setup? Well, it is. We have this thing right here. This is called a subtraction panel. And what it's doing is it's doing exactly the opposite of what we did before. So before we had this nice light coming in, we added some fill light. But what I want to do is I want to accentuate the shadows on the opposite side of Tassi's face. So my fill light is actually a subtraction panel. It's adding some contrast. It's throwing some darks, some black shadows back into her face so that this kicker light right here, this separation light, can really shine, because the star of this show is Tassi's jawline and her collarbone. Look at this photo. It's fantastic. You can see the key light is doing its job. That subtraction panel is adding that contrast so that we can really sculpt the light with our kicker light from behind. It's the same principles that we learned with the normal 3 light setup applied in a totally different way. And that's what you're going to discover as you start your journey into studio lighting. That no matter if you have 1 light or 2 lights or 3 lights or 5 lights or 6 lights, they're all going to fall into that same 3 light category. A key light that defines your setup, a fill or subtraction panel, that light that's going to add or subtract those shadows on the opposite side of the key, and then a separation or a hair light or a kicker light that accentuates the image, that helps it separate itself from the background and really pull our subject into the photo. Well, that's the 3-light setup: the key, the fill, and the kicker, or the hair light, or the separation light, however you want to use it. The nice thing about the 3-light setup is if you learn and walk through all the different steps, you will master studio lighting in a very short amount of time. Try it out on your own. You can use speed lights with umbrellas, you can use studio lights, whatever you have at your disposal, try it out and you're going to have success. Thanks so much, Tassi, for being an amazing model. I gotta say, that last shot that we took with the highlight on your chin, oh my gosh, that was fantastic. It wasn't planned, but we did it. It was awesome. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, if you want to know about the gear in this video, I've tagged all of that stuff so you can click on that and get more information. Also, make sure you subscribe, give us a like, thumbs up, all that kind of stuff. And if you have questions, leave those in the comments or even suggestions for future videos, because we're shooting these all the time. So thanks for being part of the community, and we will see you again next time.
Subscribe, like, comment, and turn on the bell notifications.
You heard it from Tassi. That's what you need to do.
Subscribe if you want more, like the video if you want more, give a comment if you want more information, more ideas. We'd love to hear from you. And turn on the bell notification so you can see our next video coming soon. Done.
Absolutely.
Okay.
What she said.